Be live. Hey everyone, welcome today. Hope y'all are enjoying your Wednesday. We got another health Q&A coming at you. So for anyone who has not, always by my lovely guest Toni Weel, who is our resident expert in detox in the community. So she's trained under Dr. Morse and as a detox specialist, and yeah, so we're here to kind of share her wealth of knowledge, and I give my little input along the way as we take in your question. Organized society tries to keep us on the acidic side of the spectrum, which is where disease, which there's no such thing as real diseases, is acidosis, and but that's where our body starts to decompose, or we can stay on the alkaline side, which is where we start to thrive and survive and live. So it's all a choice path, and bring anyone else along with this. So thank you for being here, Toni, and yeah, what do you got for us today as we open up?
Well, thank you for that. Can you start over?
Hold on just a second, I'm reconnecting it. Okay, now we're back and it should be better. So can I get a quick check from the chat? Are we good on sound and video? I was trying a different way so that we could have Toni's picture up there too, but I don't think that's going to work with my internet connection. We got good sound? Everyone hear me loud and clear? Okay, great. We're good now. Okay, so I'll repeat my introduction. So just to quickly introduce, this is our Health Q&A show where we take questions from the community and address them so that we can all get back onto the alkaline path. You know, organized society has trained us to be acidic, and we need to be alkaline. That's the way that Jesus teaches. That's the way that Dr. Morse teaches. That's the way that Toni teaches. And so as always, I'm joined by Toni Weel, who is a regenerative detox specialist trained under Dr. Morse. And we take questions every week, and Toni shares her wealth of knowledge, and then I give my little tidbits of stuff that I've learned along the way. So yeah, with that, we'll jump right into the show today. So thanks for being here, Toni.
Well, thank you for giving me that opportunity. And this week, today I came, well, actually, yeah, only today, I came across something that I didn't even realize how aware it was, yet I have struggled with it, well, probably my whole life, and I think most of us do. Not being aware of the importance of the hydration of your body and how it can affect your bowel movements, your sleep, your mental health, pretty much everything in your life. And that is just simple hydration. And a lot of time people don't see the importance of also drinking water. The mistake that I made when I started to get on more fruit was that, you know, oh, that's nice. I don't need any water anymore. And I got rehydrated. I got more pain. I got constipation. I got headaches. And then you still think, well, you know, this is all that we need. It's the fruit water. But yet we still do need water consumption. And eating ideal watery fruits and fresh greens is the optimal diet. But, you know, then what do you do about the water? Now, many people seem to believe that if one is consuming optimal hydrating foods, that water is no longer necessary. And that really is a big mistake. And if somebody has been following his ideal diet their whole life, you know, it may be not that bad, but virtually all of us have spent year after year consuming non-ideal foods, processed junk, meat, dairy, etc. So making sure you get enough water in addition to eating as clean as possible, that will help us in the healing process. Now, virtually all of us has bad decisions will eventually result in dehydration. If you're eating processed foods, dehydration. If you're pushing yourself too hard, dehydration. Not drinking enough water, dehydration. Eating acidic foods, dehydration. Now, in pretty much every one of us, before we got on mostly fruit, we ate acidic foods. Need to burn off excess fats for energy, it takes a lot of water. Consuming animal products, dehydration. Bowel problems, this is where water will help clear it. Exercise or physical activities, dehydration. And we know that, you know that you have to, you go to the gym or a long walk, you have to take your bottle of water. And you need to, your body temperature regulation, it takes water. Eliminating oils and lymphatic waste, it consumes water. So virtually all bad diet and lifestyle issues lead to dehydration eventually. Consuming more water will help reverse most health issues. Often, since we are not accustomed to drink appropriate amounts of water, we go through phases where we can't take in very much. And this is why I generally recommend starting slow. I do have to say that this information comes from the always amazing lady, Lauren Whiteman. She is from the Terrain Model Refutes Germ Theory. And she has so many gems that I want to share, because she puts it all together. I'm always amazed at how point on she is, and very, very helpful. So I would definitely suggest that you check out her group, Terrain Model Refutes Germ Theory, on Facebook. And she says that also frequent urination is usually a sign that your body is passing toxins, which is what happens when we are chronically dehydrated and begin drinking enough water. Water helps break up the toxic gunks as it becomes urine. The urine is more harsh than normal, so our bodies want to pass it sooner rather than later. So this is where you get the frequent urination. And it's a great sign that you're doing some cleaning. And this step usually won't take very long. And I did have people who tell me that it seems like they go to the bathroom like every hour, if not more. So it's actually a good sign. Toxins are leaving your body. Ideally, you will get to a point where it's easy and you feel better consuming about a gallon or more per day. But if you are not used to this yet, it is recommended you work it up slowly. Start with maybe 2 quarts and work up from there. If you need to hold at 2 quarts per day for a week or two, then that's totally fine. As usually, you go at your own pace. Now, what I do, and it works for me, and you just have to figure out what works for you. Some people can handle only like maximum of 3 quarts a day. And I see that is often where people are very petite and just don't need as much. I'm a big, Dutch girl with, 5'9". So it's, I do well with about a gallon a day, plus fruits. I do have to say that. It's not just the liquids. It's about a liter of water, a quart, and then 2 to 3 liters of or quarts per with the juices, and then additional the fruit, grapes, or whatever berries are around. And the experience that Lauren had was that it took her about 3 months of drinking water before she felt that her own thirst impulse was changing. So it's not, you do it a few days and then, okay, now I know. No, you work on it, listen to your body, and all the symptoms that you have, it's toxins coming out of your body, and the water is needed. So whenever you hear from anyone telling you, oh no, the fruit juices is enough, and I see that a lot in the groups. No, I don't need water, I'm not thirsty. No, you may not be thirsty, but your body needs the water even to get rid of the toxins. So it is ideal, and that is what I actually do, is that you sip and keep water throughout the day. Nearby, it's always my liter of water with about 2 lemons in it. And I sneak in a little maple syrup, which is actually highly processed, so be aware of that. And yeah, tell me what you do. What is your experience with that?
Yeah, well, I would be a little bit contrarian to sort of saying that we all need to drink water. I think you said it perfectly, where we should listen to our body and really gauge where we are. Because if we feel we are hydrated, if our mouth doesn't get dry, if we're having regular bowel movements, if our urine looks healthy, um, then I don't see the need to add extra water in the form of just water, because I don't drink water at all. Like, I haven't drank water in the past. I mean, maybe a sip here and there, but maybe the past 2 months, just because I feel quite hydrated. My bowel movements are great, and yeah, there doesn't feel to me to be that extra need. And actually, when I drink water, when I was drinking more water, I noticed it seemed to almost almost like have the opposite effect of hydration. And I've heard other people have similar experiences when you start consuming fruits on a regular basis. So but I don't take anything away from the fact that if we are coming from a space of high toxicity, that water is an extremely effective detox agent. That's the whole idea with drinking distilled or neutral water that's very clean, is because it pulls these excess minerals out of the body. It pulls them and flushes them. So it is a great flush. And that's why water fast can be very effective. Now, I wouldn't recommend a water fast unless you've been on an alkaline diet for a period of time, but it is a very effective detox tool to flush those waters and keep the cells hydrated while you're giving your system a full digestive reset. But on the other hand, you can also look at the benefits of dry fasting. And if your focus is more on the kidneys and getting your kidneys to filter, excess water can actually slow that healing process of getting your kidneys to filter down. So that's why dry fasting can be effective at getting those stimulated a little bit. So it really just depends on where you are and what you're looking to do. But again, goes back to, we've got to take responsibility into our own hands, gauge where our health is, do our own research, and then experiment. Really try things out and see where it takes us. And if something doesn't feel right, first we need to determine, well, does this not feel right because I'm detoxing? And if so, then I've got the choice whether to push through that detox or slow it down, or is this not feel right because it's not helping me? But that comes with a bit of research and then our intuition as well. So I don't think there's a one size all approach when it comes to drinking water by itself. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it overall. But yeah, I'm always open to new perspectives, and that's why it's beautiful to have multiple perspectives and see things from different points of view, because we're all wanting to get to that same space of optimal health, but we're all coming from different areas of having consumed toxins at different rates and different stages, and we're different ages and things of that nature. So that the approach is going to be slightly different for everybody. So it's really important to take responsibility and own your journey as we move through this healing process. So it's kind of my
I think there is more to it, Justin, because even you mentioned the edema, and some people think that they get edema because they're drinking too much. No, they get edema because at that area there are more toxins that need to come out, and that is where the water helps with. And it helps. It's used to help clean it out. And there's an interesting thing. It is like, all humans today, they require water because they have old waste compacted in their bowels, and you need about 1 to 2 gallons per day. However, and this is interesting, humans are not physiologically, difficult word for a Dutch girl, designed to drink water, but we are also not physiologically designed to eat cooked foods.
Right.
So when we make the mistake of eating inappropriate foods, we must counter that by replenishing the water lost via the cooking and digestion process. And we do not have the anatomy, because our anatomy was actually designed for fruit. But we put in anything other than our ideal food, then we must replenish that with water. So I don't think that anybody here is healthy already, is already clean. Probably Charlie is way ahead of us, because he's on fruit for quite some time and not cooked. And I think if you are on what can I say, clean, healthy, then it may be different and you can deal with the all fruit. But when you get to that point, you realize you only need very, very little food as it is anyway. Coming then to the part is that you come almost to the, if you're really healthy, to the part of being a vegetarian. You don't need food. I know of a person who only eats one every 2 days, and she's fine and she looks great. So, but that's not why we're here. We're here to get the toxins out of our body, and it is needed. And water is needed. It is, I think it is a mistake for people on their detox path that they can actually detox without it. Because if I talk to people and 9 out of 10 people is having constipation, then, my red alert goes on. It's like, there's something, you're dehydrated. And if you see so many people dehydrated despite the all fruit of all raw and mostly fruit, it is still where the water comes in. So, but we get to the point that we don't need that much anymore. And I'm amazed that you already felt that you reached that point. I thought I did when I was 7 months on mostly fruit. And that was when I was not drinking. And then I got to the point that symptoms were popping up again, and my skin was not doing great. So that was definitely where water needed to come in. I mean, the kidneys need it. But now you can get to another issue, and you have to feel where, what is too much, what is too little, and what is too much. Because if you drink a lot of water, then you get, they have a condition, they call that hyponatremia. And that happens when the concentration of salt and other minerals in our bodies get too low. So then you get symptoms including nausea, vomiting, headache, confusion, loss of energy, restlessness, muscle weakness. So you lose too many minerals there. So then you know that your body cannot utilize the excess water in your system. So there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance. What is enough? So when you're detoxing and you're still dealing with toxins in your body, start with some water and build it up a little until you get to the point that you feel that you don't need more. And maybe after a few months you say, okay, now I'm good. I can go with less water, as what you experienced, Justin.
Yeah, it's really is just kind of feel it out and play it by ear, because I was going, when I was drinking more water, it almost got to the point where I was getting frustrated with how often I was having to get up in the middle of the night to go pee. And so I was like, well, I need to cut back on the amount of water that I'm drinking, because this is interrupting my sleep. So I'm clearly getting enough fluid intake from the fruits and the water. So it didn't make sense to cut out the fruit. So I just slowly started cutting back the water, like you said, and got to the point where it's like, well, I don't really feel like I need to. If I want some extra hydration, I'll make a juice and kind of have a, you know, a meal as a juice, and then that's got that extra water content in there, or eat some more water rich fruits. But I'm more focused myself on kidney filtration, which I think we should address that as well. Whereas at least it's my understanding that excess water or fluid intake can slow down the kidney healing process, where it can impair the kidney filtration as well. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's not the excess water in overall. Of course, excess water, you say excess is never good.
Mm-hmm.
And the kidneys do need it, but what you can do, or what you should do, don't gulp down a big glass of water all at once. That is why you sip it throughout the day. And
Right.
that is what I always suggest my clients do. You know, we make 1 liter in the morning with your lemon or lime in it, and you know, by 7, 8 o'clock it's empty. And that brings me, actually, it's funny that you say that about having to get up at night to pee. If I have the nerve to drink around 9 o'clock or after 9 o'clock, yeah, I have to get up at 2. If I don't drink, say from 7 on, I can sleep throughout the whole night. So it depends on when you do that. And there is it. I'll tell you something that Sam Kovalyov from that group that I mentioned wrote. Water helps keep our extracellular fluid hydrated and mobile, so it can transport nutrients to where they are needed, when they are needed. Intracellular fluid is best affected by the water from fruits and veggies because it has minerals and it gives it different physical properties from plain drinking water. Toxins get recycled into the digestive system and back into our intracellular fluid over and over again until they are broken down enough to be eliminated by the kidneys or mixed with enough fiber in the digestive system that they make it out to our colon for elimination. Either way, water is a necessary component of this process. Cellular hydration is a result of a fully hydrated extracellular environment, as the ECF will pull water from the cells if it is lacking. And since fruits and veggies contain substances in them besides water, they don't need help to dilute and remove all toxins from the system as readily as plain water does. It is a currency that is spent in the detox process and thus gets to be replenished. As the need for detox goes down, so does our need for water. And the body communicates this to us with subtle signs of discomfort when drinking water, which should tell us that we had enough to drink. Just as we eat food until we feel subtle signs of discomfort, would tell us that we have enough food for now. So I thought that was interesting to know how it all works. And it is like, always listen to your body. We cannot stress that enough, and read the signs. Discomfort doesn't mean you're sick. It's just a signal so that you know what you need to do. So it is drink water until you don't need it anymore. It's not that like, oh, I'm not thirsty, I don't need to drink water, but drink some. And during detox, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's, again, just important to listen to your body, and it gets back to this space of being present. And the more alkaline we are in the body, the more alkaline we become in the mind, and vice versa. And that allows us to stay in that space of presence and truly observe. If we're always in the hustle bustle, if we're acidic and diseased, if we're never at ease, then we can't truly feel things, and we can't really feel what our body is telling us. And we just go about willy-nilly and do whatever and get us into all sorts of trouble. So it all comes back to the same path of just getting into this still homeostasis space, to where we truly can feel things very clearly. So yeah.
I don't have more on water. I was just reading one of the questions that just came in.
Okay.
That was a long one.
Uh,
And Anne-Marie writes, I am on day 100 of my fruit juice cleanse, and I have 2 questions. Around day 75, I took some photos of my eyes after watching a bunch of Dr. Morse's videos. Since then, I have been taking some of the herbal formulas to help with the obvious things I noticed: lymph, kidney, adrenals. Do you know how long it takes before all these changes using and the botanicals are reflecting in the eyes? I ask because I had a heavy amount of sulfur in my stomach, but I didn't know this was a thing until I watched Dr. Morse's videos. Thanks to him, I now know that what was coming out of me for weeks and weeks continuously before I learned about it. So when I took the photos, most of it was out, but it was still showing up in my eyes, which is how I identified it retrospectively. Or possibly there was more in there, and this was what was left in the eyes, changed in near real time. However, if I look at my eyes now, I'm still not seeing massive changes, even though I'm getting towards the end of my GI cleanse. Yeah, it's. I have seen people that saw a difference with sulfur leaving the body, and you could see that in the eyes in 2 weeks. And I was like, that is pretty much impossible. So, and they had the before and after photos, but still, I would say 6 months before you can see a difference. So if you are on a 12-week protocol, it's too soon. For myself, I had such high lymph stagnation that even after 2 years, I don't see much of a change. Although I have a lot of changes already. There's so much more that I can do, but I still have that lymph stagnation. And my problem is that I had from a young age kidney problems, so the kidneys are not filtering. So even though the most important thing is getting those kidneys to filter, is that I do have improvements. And but you know, it's for me, it's a long way to go still. So I would say between 6 months and 2 years, you could see a change in the eyes. There is a lady on the internet, and now I forgot her name. She does recipes, raw. I think she does raw recipes. And she went from green eyes to bright blue eyes in 2 years. I think you have to set for yourself, like, you know, probably about 2 years to see a significant difference. And the sulfur you can see, if you have blue eyes or green eyes, around the pupil, you have brownish that is easily to spot. That is, I'm not saying this is just in general. It's the brown around the pupils has to do with your GI tract. So if there is still brown, then you need what you can see what you need to work on. But to be able to get you the details, you would need to see the eyes. Her second question was, Dr. Morse says that where there is sulfur, there's fungus. Will the juice cleanse and getting the sulfur out get rid of the fungus too, or should I also take Parasite M? I have passed several Parasite on the juices, so I know it works for them at least. There was actually one thing that Dr. Morse mentioned in a recent video, is that when you take the Parasite G general for the larger parasite, you take them until you don't see anything coming out. If you don't see anything coming out at all, you probably didn't have, or you're longer a vegan, because usually it is when you are when you have been eating meat that you have the big parasites. With the Parasite M nowadays, oh my gosh, it's probably like you take them a long time, because we have overgrowth of candida, we have fungus, there's fungi in the air, there's mold, there is so much stuff that we cannot even avoid. So yes, you would need to use the Parasite M. That's for microorganisms. Now we all know that with the parasites, if your body is really alkaline, parasites can't live there. But how long does it really take before we're all healthy and have the are not acidic anymore, and are completely, have an alkaline body, so to speak, that is not done in a few months. I think that takes a long time. We go through quite a long process. But to answer your question, yes, please do take a Parasite M. How long? I don't know. Months, year? That's probably what I would advise. And actually what Dr. Morse said, he was the same. Yeah, you probably need to take them for a long time.
Yeah, and I would just say for her first question around the eyes, if anyone is curious and wants to look at their eyes, Dr. Morse has a good video on how to take eye pictures with your cell phone. You just need help from, he recommends 2 people. You might be able to get away with just 1 person helping you. So that's what Eugene and I did. We took pictures of our eyes so that we could look at them. And then there's an easy chart you can follow that just gives you a basic idea. If you see some things in particular areas, you might have issues in that area of the body. So it does take some research and some learning to figure it all out. But it is something that you can certainly self-teach to kind of assess your own eyes and get a good baseline if you don't want to go ahead and then hire someone who is more of an expert in that field. So just that as an option.
Another question was by Jackie. I would like to know of any local healers in my area in Troy, Ohio. Well, the healers or the practitioners trained by Dr. Morse are actually all over the world, and everybody works by phone, Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, and rarely you go to see a person in person. And but if you insist on finding somebody that you can actually be face to face to, I suggest that you go to a website that is GrapeGate, GrapeGate.com, and there is a link for practitioners. I'm listed there, and there are all over the world people listed. Now, it is important that you get to talk to somebody that you feel comfortable with and that that you can get the help that you need, and not one session and then you're out on your own. So I would definitely, I would say interview a person when you want to talk to somebody. That's actually what I would do. I give people the opportunity to talk with me for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes it's even been 3 hours. And if you feel that, if you feel good with it and it resonates with what we talk about, how our connection is, then you move forward. But see if you can find somebody in your area then. But I think that interviewing part is important because you only get help with somebody you feel good with. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I would echo that. I don't really have much else to add. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, haven't we all talked to people that we wondered, like, what was I doing there? This is not working.
Yeah, well, that's our intuition. It's like, yeah, we've got to listen to ourselves, listen to your body, listen to your gut. Like God, that's God's way of pulling at you and saying, hey, this may be right or it may not be right for you, but we have to listen.
Yeah, the intuition, how it resonates with you, I think that is important. But don't forget, and that's actually for everybody, that website, there has been so many hours in energy put in that grapegate.com website. Even practitioners get a ton of information there. So definitely, you're looking for your health or you don't want to talk to a practitioner, check it out there. The information, actually, everything that I share is freely available on the internet. But I do see that people sometimes are missing the little details. And And that's why, you know, I always want to be available for people to ask the questions and figure instead of figuring it out on your own, because even though all the information is there, you sometimes just need to talk to a person.
We do have,
Okay,
we do have,
yeah,
some questions in the chat if we want to shift to those.
yeah, go ahead.
So I've answered a couple of these, but we will, we'll just go through them all. So JV asks, Justin, have you or Tony heard about the master cleanse and what are your thoughts? And I responded, I have no experience myself. I'm always a bit leery of pasteurized juice, but grape juice, and Dr. Morse has reciprocated this information that grape juice is going to be one of the best versions of pasteurized juice. So I think, you know, I've heard a lot of people have had good results with it. But that's about all I can add, is just what I've observed. I haven't felt compelled to try it myself.
And what was the question? That was the grape detox? Was you asking about that?
No, asking about the master cleanse. Which...
Oh, yeah, the master cleanse. Well, the thing is they insist on doing only the pasteurized juice, and I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But we have fresh fruit. My gosh, you know, you have fresh grapes. I mean, why would you want to eat something cooked? It doesn't, and no, Dr. Morse is not a fan of it at all. And neither am I, because it doesn't make sense, despite what somebody said he figured it out. That's all good. And I'm happy that people are getting results on it, because, you know, let's face it, when you cut out all the bad foods and you would go on only one thing, even if it is pasteurized grape juice, of course you see positive results because all the junk is gone.
Yes.
Now, what we know is that grapes are so astringent that even when you pasteurize them, there is some of that astringency, is that a good word, left. And so, yeah, you can, if you cannot get fresh grapes, because now it is still, you know, grapes are still in abundance here. But there will be a time that it's not. Can you then use the pasteurized? And then I would only do the Lakewood one, that where nothing is added, no sugar, no citric acid, no nothing. It is just the Lakewood grape juice, organic. And what Lakewood themselves told us is that their juice is actually not pasteurized, but it is flash heated. So it's heated for a very short time, but it's still heated. But, you know, knowing now that it has the astringency that you need to help your body, and if that is all that you would drink, go for it. But the way other than that, the way that they put the master cleanse together, and no, it wouldn't be my thing. That's all that's all I want to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you feel compelled, like, feel free to experiment. You're not going to hurt yourself with it. But I just don't see it as, I agree, I don't see it as the optimal route of cleansing.
What I am a little opposed of is everybody needs to make money, but it is kind of expensive to go through that.
It's this club that you have to join.
Yeah.
And it costs money, which I never feel good about.
It's a smart move, but not my thing.
Yeah, and it's the same concept as like people who heal themselves with the keto diet. You know, if you're coming from a very toxic diet and you restrict your diet to animal fats, like you're still going to experience some form of healing because you're simplifying your diet, but it's only going to take you so far, and then you're just going to be exasperating the issue down the road. I don't think, now don't get me wrong, I don't think it's nearly as negative as a keto diet, but I'm just drawing on that comparison of people who do experience healing from simplifying their diet.
Yeah, when you talk about keto, it is like you have no idea, including myself who have done it. and who got out sicker than ever. And the
Mhm.
people that are raving about it are the ones that just started it, and they see things happening, but a lot of their problems is being suppressed, and they get out later on sicker than ever. And I'm surprised that so many of these, well, what do you call it, YouTubers, truthers, are all promoting, you know, so and so with keto and take keto pills. And please don't. There is no fast track to health. There isn't. And health has to be for the rest of your life, not for, oh, I need to be healthy today, and not looking at what the future is going to be if you follow all these things. So please do not do it.
King James asks, can you talk at all about negative blood types and if this changes anything physiologically? I feel my body operates differently to others.
Yeah, have you looked into that?
I haven't really looked into it. I just would quickly say that, I feel like it's like with anything, if we start to really identify with, I am a particular thing and therefore that makes me different, our mind is very powerful and we actually start to shift our reality a bit and that becomes true. So that's just kind of my overall take, is that I would be careful getting into this idea that, oh, because my blood's different, I have to do everything differently. But again, I don't have a lot of knowledge or experience with it, so I could be completely wrong there. But that's just
No, you are absolutely right. That is the first thing that you have to think of. With yeah, I fell for that too. I have to admit, over the years and have been sick for a long time, I got all the blood type diet and all the books that tell me about it, and then I didn't read them. There's always a reason for that. So I have a big library with books that have been read very well, and others that I haven't touched because it was like something is not right about this. And with the blood type diet, is like, oh, for my blood type, I'm O positive. I need to eat meat, really. So it is like, no, your body has, like Dr. Morse said it has only two fluids, it's blood and it's lymph. And you have to keep your body clean. You have to keep it alkaline. Please do forget about that whole blood type thing and what you need to eat for it. I don't know who came up with it. It's not even that long ago. And there will always be some people that come with stuff that you think it may sound logic and, oh, they have something here. And then when you start trying it, you drive yourself up the wall. Keep it simple. We know what our natural food is. So if there is any book or anyone suggesting that we need to eat meat to be healthy for our blood type, wrong. That is where I draw the line. When something like that comes up, and I'm like, no, that is never our natural diet. So that is where it stops for me, and I hope for you too.
Yep, agreed completely. Everything in organized society is designed to divide us, disconnect us, and move us apart from each other, from ourselves, and from God. So when I see these kind of things of saying this group is separate and needs to do things differently and blah, 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 like I just get this sneaking suspicion that is another attempt to just further divide and separate and get people to, think I've got to do something.
That is actually a very, very good reminder, because you always have to wonder why all of a sudden is somebody, we never heard of this person, and all of a sudden they have a best-selling book. How does that happen? It doesn't happen, that easily, that you bring a book on the market and all of a sudden it's a bestseller, and that's usually a red flag for me.
Yep. All right, Kathy Muncaster says, hi, Justin, when you juice, do you only take in one fruit at a time, or can you use several items of foods, like, and she lists several things, apples, pineapple, spinach, kale. So just to quickly address, when you ask, can you use, and I really want to stress this with people, you can do anything that you like. So please don't ask me, am I allowed to, can I do this or can I do that? You are a sovereign, responsible being, and you can do whatever you like. You are responsible for your body and you're responsible for whatever. And I'm not jumping on you, but I just want to make a point there, because I do get asked these kind of questions a lot of like, can I do this or am I allowed to do that? Now, if we want to look at the optimal way of doing things, simplicity is best. So when we're juicing things, one type of fruit is going to be best. And there are food combinations that Tony's posted before, we've discussed, not mixing your fruits and your veggies, that are going to, not be conducive to consume all at once, for sure. So you definitely don't want to be combining things that shouldn't be combined. And to avoid any of those complications of having to worry about what you combine with which, just stick with one thing at a time. So my response to that was, for me, I do one fruit at a time, unless I am making some juice that I want to incorporate some healing herbs into the juice. And then I'll figure out, what herbs I can put in there. And, I usually do apples with herbs, because apples mix well with most things. And then mix in those herbs with the apple juice. So that's kind of my approach there, but simplicity is best.
The thing with how your body works, it's actually quite interesting. It starts with a smell. You have a fruit in front of you and you smell something. So when you smell it, already in your mouth, things starts to happen. Enzymes, how do you say that, appear or prepare. They prepare for what you are going to eat. So this is where you're going to have the optimal digestion, and it starts with smelling. So that is where you get something that you smell, and you get, your saliva, you already feel that. So yeah, it's the one fruit at a time that works the best for your body. I got to a point that years ago, I loved my smoothies. Oh my gosh, I had all kinds of stuff in it, from bananas and berries and oranges, wrong combination, but I didn't know that then. And I added dulse and cilantro, and it was absolutely totally delicious. And over the years, I am much more appreciating the taste of just apple or just orange or just the berries or and the watermelon. I mean, great! It tastes absolutely delicious. So I got away from mixing the fruits. And it's funny that you mentioned that part of can I do that, or am I allowed? This is a word that has been used so much in all these groups. Yeah, but that is not allowed. No, you cannot do that. And yeah, this food is allowed. I would like to have that word allowed or disallowed completely scratched from our vocabulary. It's the same as the word diet. Don't like that either. But I always cringe when I hear, no, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah, sure, you are allowed. You have your free will. You can do whatever you like, as long as you know what you're doing, and then you make your decision.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's not hang up on that, or how do you say that? Got hung up on that word allowed. There is no such thing. You are allowed to do whatever you want.
Exactly.
I gave you permission. God gave you permission.
Exactly. We reap what we sow, so we get to experience the rewards wherever they lie and whatever actions we take. But it is good to take in knowledge and act responsibly within our actions, so that we can move about appropriately. So not picking on you at all, Kathy. So I didn't mean to come at you hard, but I just wanted to make that clarifying point on when we're asking about things. We can and we're allowed to do anything that we like, but we just, we experience whatever we do.
Yeah, I think, Justin, when we get more into this and we're changing our eating habits, we don't think about those things anymore. We need to get away what everybody tells you what you can and cannot do. It's yeah.
Yep. So Kathy Coleman asks, apart from the frugivore diet and water intake, what can people do to protect themselves from spike protein infestation from vaxxed people? And I mentioned quickly that breathing, meditation, and then I'll add spending time outside in nature, and then just simply putting on the armor of God. So fear lowers our immune system when we're in this space of fear or worry or anxiety. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had any direct experience with the spike protein thing, so I don't know where that is. But I think you've mentioned before that you did get sick after coming in contact with someone who's been vaccinated. So you would know more than I. But again, with any sort of illness or physical ailment, alkalinity is the answer to it all. And alkalinity is approached from several different factors, but it's that simplicity, it's that ease of, coming back into this place of stasis where we're breathing properly, where we're stilling our mind, where we're not always in this constant churn and worry and fear and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. And then with the food, getting back with the fruit and the frugivore diet and making sure we're hydrated as well. So it's a combination of those things, but and then just knowing that is the right path, and that when we wear the armor of God, then everything that it's not saying that when we wear the armor of God, we're never going to experience anything that we might not want to, but when we wear the armor of God, everything that we experience, I mean, regardless, everything we experience is for our highest good. It's to move us in a direction, to get us back to that space of moving on the right path. But wearing the armor of God, it really does mean no fear, and knowing that God's only going to present to me things that I need to experience. So that's kind of my take there with that one.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. There's not much to add to it. When you know that you put the right fuel in your body, the fruit, then you do all that you can do. Am I saying, you would have to stay away? I don't even believe in spike proteins. It makes no sense to me. And what is the stuff that is making people sick? Can it be frequency? Yeah, that's very possible. Now, if we are a higher frequency already, then I don't believe that they can really touch it. And people who eat meat in the wrong, let's call it, there is something as right and wrong foods, and I consider meat as the wrong foods, then we are in a lower frequency. And I believe that people who eat that way, the standard American or European or world diet nowadays, are more susceptible to getting sick anyway. And the getting sick is detoxing, because your body doesn't want it. But it doesn't really explain the frequency part, in that sense that I believe that you are more protected with high frequency foods, and that to me is the right fuel. And that's all you can do, and not worry about it, and have the strength for yourself. But when I'm good, I eat what I need to eat, I eat what my body needs, and you do all the things that Justin just mentioned. That's it. That's all that you can do, and nothing is going to happen to you. And when you get sick and you get the flu symptoms, then your body is detoxing from something that needs to come out. It's nothing else than that. And I do hear from quite a few people who did get the flu, some call it COVID, other calls it detox symptoms, that there are lung problems. This is where your breathing comes in, being outside in nature, and there are herbs for that. We have an amazing, it's only three herbs, and it's called lung detox, and it's an absolutely amazing thing to get the mucus out of your lungs. So be in control of yourself, and no fear. I mean, you are in control, and this is all that you can do.
Mm-hmm. just quickly, correction. So I was thinking when some JB asked about the master cleanse, I was thinking it was the master fast system with the pasteurized grape juice, but the master cleanse is the one with the lemons, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper.
Oh yeah. That is,
Just-
yeah, that's good that you mentioned that, because
yeah.
I have done that for 40 days and it is amazing. It was amazing. But
Okay.
it's more like, a water fast with a lot of lemons. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
great.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you had good results with it. I think it might even be better without the maple syrup and cayenne pepper. I mean, I'm sure there might be maybe some benefits to that. I mean, the maple syrup would help with the taste, and the cayenne pepper maybe some extra flushing, but
Well,
that extra stimulation.
yeah, the reason was actually that maple syrup would have some minerals that would be beneficial. But and the cayenne, it helps a little with the blood circulation. I did the cayenne very little, and yeah, but I was feeling good for 40 days. This is already 9 years ago that I did that.
Hmm.
And I found it rather easy.
Okay. Yeah. Great. That's good to know. I think if I were to do something like that, I would probably opt out of the syrup, the maple syrup and the cayenne pepper, and just do the lemons, because the lemons we know are, I mean, it's a fruit and it's very detoxifying. So that's gonna get you that cleansing effort. But yeah, that's kind of my quick take on that.
Do we have time for a little thing that I talked to someone earlier today about, and this has to do with water?
Yeah, of course.
And she asked me this comes from Karen in Israel. She asked me if I knew what sun water was. Well, the only thing that I know about sun water is that you put it out in the sun, you leave it there for a while and you drink it. And that's all I knew. I didn't know anything about the results or anything. And she said the water that she has there is really bad. So what she does is she has tap water, and she puts it in a plastic bottle, I hope a safe plastic bottle, and she freezes them. Then she actually has a link about Japanese research, what it does to the water. And then she is thawing it, and after defrosting and letting the water sit, you can actually see sediment at the bottom. Then it is being transferred to a clear glass bottle, leaving out the end bit with the gunk in it, because it seems to have some gunk at the bottom. And then you alkalize the water in the sun, and she has a video about that too. I can send it to you. And that came from JCK, an Australian light worker. The thing was, what I thought was amazing is that the taste is so different. And she said everybody who tried it said it tastes so much better. It's sweeter, and they feel better about it. Have you ever tried that out?
Sorry, I was looking at the chat. Tried what out?
Tried out. No, you don't want me to start all over again. Tried out the sun water.
Oh, no, I have not. I have not tried that.
And that would be, I'm going to try it out. So that would be, yeah, my tap water, I put it through what is it? A filter. I have the Alexa Pure filter, and then it's going to be distilled. And Karen suggested then to freeze it, and then thaw it, put it in a glass bottle, and then have it outside in the sun for half an hour to a few hours.
I know.
So yeah, it would be interesting to try that out and actually see if the taste is different.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, receiving the blessings of the sun, the light of the Father. And I know Josh has talked about leaving your water out in a glass container to receive the photonic light. So I'm sure it does.
And when it works absolutely great, actually, and I didn't know about that, is when you want to make take your herbs and make tea out of it. So you don't heat it up. You put it in a glass bottle with your herbs in it. Now, I mean, you know, not the herbal formulas that we have, but live herbs or dried herbs even, and you put it out in the sun and you make some tea, and how much more beneficial it is. I absolutely believe that.
Cool. Well, there's and so we can get into this because there was that question I got by email, and you talked about it too, and there was a mention in the chat about saltwater flushes. So just quickly give my take on saltwater flushes and salt in general. Salt is a poison to us. It does nothing for us beneficial. It only bogs down our systems. It dehydrates us. It's a rock that our body cannot process. So a flush with salt water is basically going to send your body into a shock state to where it's going to try and purge this poison out of you. So you will notice an expelling when you do a saltwater flush, but you're going to leave behind a salt residue from drinking that excess salt, which your body is just going to have to get out of it at some other point in time. So I don't see any benefit of consuming salt internally whatsoever. Now, salt is great externally. So it's great to put in a bath. It's great to put in a foot soak. It does pull out toxins through the skin, but I just would never take it internally in any form.
Yeah. Do you know where this is coming from? That salt water flush? It comes from the master cleanse.
Oh.
That's where they do it. And that's what turned me off really, really bad, because it is one of the things that I looked at a few years ago. And they said here that it became a popular trend as part of the Master Cleanse Detox and Fasting program. And a saltwater flush involves drinking a mixture of warm water and non-iodized salt. You know, drinking salt water can actually kill you. And what the problem is, if you have excess salt in your body, it goes into your tissues, and it goes in places where you don't want it. It's, you know, it's
we need
I don't like it.
We need sodium, but sodium that occurs naturally in the food.
Yeah, organic, you know, the organic salts in plants, in herbs, in even in fruit, that's all organic salt. Everything else is inorganic salt, and our body cannot use it. The plants can use it, and then we use the plants.
Yep. And it creates an addicting effect on the adrenals. It overly stimulates the adrenals and numbs our taste buds so that we can't taste other things, and just creates this whole pattern that's difficult to get out of. That's why salt is in everything processed. That's why they put it in everything, because they know how addicting it is, and they know how harmful it is to us. So what better way than to just put it in everything? But yeah, cool. Well, that's about all I've got today. And we're a bit over time, but appreciate you sticking around. Did you have anything else to close out?
No, I do want to mention something, because I do feel a little discomfort, mental discomfort about it. I feel guilty. I have promised people who sent emails that I would personally get back with them, and I have not. And I absolutely will do it, but I have been so busy with setting up a social platform for Charlie Freak that actually, yeah, it took priority. And I know it shouldn't, I shouldn't do it that way, because I made a promise and I like to keep my promises. So if people can, you know, bear with me a little, have a little bit more patience. And if it's urgent, then please, you know, my email is always in the show notes. So connect with me, ask me about it. It's not that I forget you. It is just, I'm just one person.
Yeah,
I do my best, but I don't feel right about it, because I did promise.
It's good to acknowledge, but it's also good for us all to be understanding that you know, especially Toni, she pours in so much time and effort into everything that she does. and she does everything. So she is working very diligently to get the website for Freak Sense up and running. And if y'all haven't seen that yet, I think I've got a link. Yeah, we've got a link to the intro page in the show notes. I'm going to add a link to the main website in there as well, so that you can go in and check that out. But it is coming along very well. I mean, it's up and running. We're just testing and making sure everything works smoothly, and looking for an official release on October 1st, right?
Yeah. We call it now, you can pre-register, but as you know, you can get in, you can register, you can add to your profile, connect with people. We just put in the options to put in your location, so you can see how you can connect with people locally, because I think that would be it would be very interesting to be able to do that, to have people to talk to face to face, not just online. And a lot of people nowadays do need that. Well, everybody does actually. And it's up and running. There are forums, there are groups, there are about, well, whatever topic that we could think of, Justin. Yeah.
And I'm sure what it'll be a work in progress. We'll continue
Absolutely.
adding stuff.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. It works well. But yeah, we would love some additional eyes, and so come on.
Yeah, it's communicate there, and put stuff in the forums, even though they're empty. I know a lot of people have a lot of things to share, because if I look at the Facebook groups or Telegram or MeWe, there's a lot of sharing. So our afreaksenseworld.com is open, and I'm there. So you have messages for me, you can reach me there. So yeah, I would say thank you, Justin, for giving your time again, and actually your platform. And I'm very happy, to be here, and wish all the best. Well, all the best. Yeah, I wish all the best for everybody, health-wise, mental, everything. Happy things. So I love you all. Thank you, and till the next time.
Yep. Love you guys. Y'all take care.